I don't know Google Meet.
You're fine. Can you see me now?
I can.
Well, that's
Okay,
right.
yeah.
Am I like on some big TV?
Yes, you
Yes, you
are.
are.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All
We're in Darren owns a very cool co-working space. And we're in
Okay.
one of the conference rooms of the co-working space.
You know what? It's cooler when I'm not here.
Yeah. Well,
Nice. Yeah.
we could all say that about our jobs.
Right.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Because my husband set me up with a whole thing.
It looks fancy.
Shebang.
It looks
I
very
know.
fancy. Yeah. Yeah. Very good.
The
Very
whole
good.
shebang.
Right. And you can hear us okay, right?
Yes, I can, but
Okay.
I don't
You sure?
usually use
Earplugs,
ear things.
earbuds. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Right?
So this is how, do you need to go to the bathroom?
No, I'm good actually.
Okay. Because this is how it works. I tell you what's going to happen. He runs out, goes to the bathroom, and I just stay here the entire time. I never get up to go pee. So
You
nice
can.
to see you. I'll
I
be
know.
back in town in April, the end of
Oh,
April.
good.
So you might see
Good.
me walking around with Bobby, the doggy, and Lisa, the limper. This is
She's
how
doing
we,
pretty well.
she is doing pretty well. And I think she's very happy that she's off those crutches, because when I saw her last month, I came up from Long Branch. I called her. I said, hey, when I get there, let's go to Target. I'll put you in a motorized chair. She flipped out. Like, I don't understand how hard it is for me to get out of this house. I do not want to leave this house. It's a pain in the ass. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I'm holding the phone like this. I'm like, oh my God.
Oof.
And I go, okay, I hear you. But by the way, you sound just like Dad. And she started giggling. Really stubborn like Dad. But yeah, so hopefully she'll be better. She will be better when I get up there. But
I thought
how?
you was headed down there. I thought you was going to Anderson's. Get out
You know,
there.
I tried to talk her into going down there because she's trying to get away from her in-laws, but I don't know what happened. So, I know. What are you gonna do? Anyway, so this is how this works. When we start recording, we're gonna turn off our camera and we're gonna have you turn off your camera.
No,
Oh, that's right, because we are gonna
We're
record this
leaving it
thing. We're
now.
leaving the camera on.
'Cause
Never mind. It
we've
used to be a
included
buffering issue.
YouTube now.
Yeah, it used to be a buffering issue. It's not a
Oh
buffering issue.
no.
You're fine. You look fabulous. You do.
Kidding.
You do. And I just look like an old lady. But anyway, and really this is,
No.
and you and I talked about this on the phone. It's going to be like a cocktail party. It's just a loose conversation.
Hence the cocktail.
Hence the cocktail. We have a sponsor for our cocktails, and you have yours, yes. And I read your bio from your website the first time and about died laughing about I was 8 years old and moved our desk into the closet. So I'm going to read that to introduce you because I think it's a really good lead up to what you do and why you do it. And then we're just going to have a conversation back and forth about that. And what are we doing? An hour? 30 minutes, an hour. Hour. Yeah. I had a stroke. I did. I had a stroke over the weekend. Janice came in and blew my brains out. So my mom, you heard my mom's dating. And she got catfished.
Catfished. I did.
Yeah. So
Yeah, she did.
yeah, and I got the wrath. So
She's out there on silver.
Love it for it.
I know. Anyway, and I've been falling down on the job on this part, but tonight, nope, I'm going to catch up. So really, that's how we go. If you haven't already figured it out, Darren and I are sarcastic as hell, and we insult each other. His greeting was something about there you are, and I told him to fuck off.
That's about it for that.
So that's just how it goes with us. But do you have any questions?
I do not.
Okay.
I'm totally fine with however long this goes.
Yeah.
Think
Yeah.
it's
Keep it within an
boring.
hour.
I think it's
If it-
boring.
You're going to do imitations?
No, but
Can
I'll
you do
try and keep it
voices?
lively.
Can you do
It won't-
voices?
It won't get boring.
What's your favorite? You got to be able to do an impersonation of somebody, right?
I don't impersonate people, but I do have a tendency to fall into a British accent upon occasion when things get really
Oh,
tricky
So
on the
when does
job.
that happen?
When things are kind of going sideways and we think we need to like liven things up and get a grip on how this all is going to get done. And I'm just trying to get the girls motivated. And they all know that when it happens, They really need to hop to.
Like Mary Poppins, but
There you go.
a little with an edge, possibly.
With an edge, I don't know. Just kind of.
That's
I don't
That's
know
right.
if I'm, if that's offensive to anyone, but I don't really care.
That was great.
right. Be authentic. Be
you and have
authentic.
fun with it.
Yeah, be you and have fun with it. Okay, are
See,
we?
oh, this is the part that gets, this is like the bonus footage and stuff.
Yeah,
We have not actually
haven't
hit
even-
record
I know,
for the
I know.
podcast, so
Well,
we're good on the audio.
I'm wondering, are you going to hit record anytime soon?
When we're ready.
Okay.
Do you know who our sponsor is?
It is Megan with percent. It's been a long time, man.
Do you want me to pull up some stuff for you to
Who's our
look at?
sponsor?
Perspective?
Perspective. Yes. Megan.
Lynn?
Without an E.
Yeah. hmm
She's got,
She listened. Did you listen to a podcast? Which one?
No. I listened to the beginning of a couple. I'm not going
Thank
to say
you.
that I studied.
That's fine.
still
You
But I
got
did
you got
hear.
that far.
better.
You got that far. Yeah.
That's good. She knows it's perspective with an E. So that's something. Which is fabulous. So did you guys know that, are you part of the Publix club?
I tried it and it's so confusing and I'm so over it. So I didn't.
You only want it for twice a year.
Why?
Because on your birthday and then 6-month birthday later,
Mm.
you get like either a free half a sheet cake or a half gallon of ice cream, Publix ice cream.
Okay.
So because of my birthday the other day, I'm like,
Oh.
yep.
Oh, mine's coming up. Maybe I need to sign up.
Sign up.
So what does this have to do with the podcast?
Not a God.
Okay, thank you. That's what I'm wondering too.
I'm just stalling while I'm looking up the information on
You're looking up the information.
Megan.
Oh. See, you don't even know.
You know what? I'm gonna do it a different way.
You do it a different way.
The hell's with
I
this.
love seeing the inner workings of a podcast.
It's a shit show. I usually come in flying sideways. My hair's in a
Yeah.
mess, pissed off about something. I don't know.
Mhm. Be more. This is all I-
How did
There.
you guys meet?
How did we meet? Darren, how did
Us?
we meet?
Your mom was.
No. I
We met
came
here.
over here for an event.
Mhm.
And then you invited me. I used to go to a networking morning every Tuesday morning. And that's how I met him and the originator of the podcast. And then we fired Jake. And now we have this podcast and it's just Darren and I. Yeah. So that's how we know each other. Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Thanks to our new sponsor, Get Perspective.
No, it's perspective, but the website is Get Perspective.
Perspective. The mission is to help more people reach their potential and lead happy and impactful lives by helping them find a career that aligns with their purpose. Copy that.
Or you can just say, we can make it on the friggin' podcast. We spent an hour and a half with her on the podcast. Do you not remember that?
Yes, I do remember
Okay.
that. Yeah.
She don't remember what she does. Are we ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
We'll pull it
Andrea,
out.
are you all set? That's gonna be so fun today.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Folks, welcome to Toasting
We gotta re-record that. You're cracking on me and you can't even get the words out of your damn mouth.
Your business just coming out and it's like, no, the tongue's like, don't say those words. Okay. Folks, welcome back to Toasting the Business. Lynn,
Yes, dear.
how's life?
Well, don't ask.
Okay. Weather's
The weather's all over the place. The pollen
It's
is
raining
2 inches.
pollen.
I need a snow blower for the
I
pollen.
washed my truck the other day.
Yeah,
Came over here.
Covered.
Went back within an hour.
I know. Somebody sent me a meme and it was of a guy snow blowing, but the entire meme was yellow. Because that's what it looks like. It looks like chalk that comes
Yeah.
off the dustboard.
It does.
And it's
Ooh.
thick. It's all over the dog's nose too when she comes inside. It's disgusting.
Sniffing.
Yeah.
We got you want to talk about our sponsor
Yes.
so we can get on with us?
Yes. And she was on the podcast, Megan with Perspective, without an E.
Yeah.
And she is our drink sponsor. Today we're having Manhattan's,
Manhattan.
right? And
Yeah.
it's fantastic.
Oh.
I don't think I've ever had a good Manhattan. So now finally the ripe old
Yeah,
age
you
that I'm
know.
at, I'm actually having a good one. So thank you, Megan.
Makes them with Luxardo cherries.
She does, and she makes them with love. Like she is meticulous about making these. So
It's a science experiment going on. She measures that
I
stuff
know
out.
she concentrates hard in her
Mhm.
kitchen when she's here. But yeah, thank you, Megan.
So if Megan ever was confused about what she should do for her next career,
I know exactly what she can do for her next career.
go to Get Perspective and watch videos on people who, you dip into their career a little bit and they talk about it.
Right, which is
Yeah.
fascinating. She's got some really cool people on on her website too.
She does.
Mhm.
She does. One day I'm going to be on there.
All right,
And she
that's right.
finally
You
finishes it.
Okay, good.
Megan, when you finish the,
Sounds
Really?
like a female problem because I can't finish.
it's a lot of
Any of this
editing when it
stuff,
comes
yeah.
to dealing
Yeah,
with
you're
me.
fine, you're fine. Yeah,
You ready?
I'm ready.
Here's our guest.
Andrea Walker. Hi, Andrea.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. I am going to take the liberty of introducing our listeners to Andrea by reading about her from her website because it's
you go.
funny. Yeah. What?
That's your intro.
Oh,
He
okay.
sent that to us and said, please play this before you introduce me.
Okay, got it. Sounds like Ted Lasso. So, Andrea is the CPO of Smart Organization. And she says, beyond just neat and tidy, the perfect balance of beauty and function is support easy, stress-free living. So I'm going to read you what I see here. It says, it was clear Andrea Walker was destined to be a professional organizer when she was just 8 years old and convinced her best friend to move their desks into the code area of the classroom because all the great organizing possibilities, bookshelves, and great wall space were there. Since 2010, Andrea has been transforming her clients' lives by giving them less stress, more time, and happier lives. She holds the coveted Certified Professional Organizer designation and believes in helping more than clients. She has served 8 terms on the board of directors of the Northern New Jersey chapter of the National Association of Productivity and Organizing Professionals, including the chapter president from 2015 to 2017. Welcome, Andrea.
Well, thank
That's
you.
impressive.
I sound so great. I
You
love
do,
that.
and you should be proud of yourself. From everything I hear, you've got a great business happening. And I think, though, I'd be very intimidated to let you see in some of my closets and or my attic because you just shove it in there and slam the door. So, what's your why? I mean, I know what you did when you were 8 years old.
Why she moved everybody
I
up to
know,
the closet.
but like, what was the impetus to start this business and go into this career field?
Well, I've always been organized, and most people are either, inherently intuitively organized or they're not. And I was always like that. I also had this like weird fascination, and I don't know where it came from, that I was going to someday own my own business. And I really thought that had to include a product because I didn't really know that you could have a service business. So when didn't really do anything with that, although I had also this idea that it would be international of sorts. So I did study French and do a study abroad, but I'm
I
not
studied a
actually
few
fluent in
broads.
French anymore.
You're not fluent in French.
What?
Oh, you could go
No.
back, I bet.
Um, And I also just went down a path of banking and somehow got into that and did that for 25 years. And it was okay. I did a variety of things. And I was always more interested in organizing my credit files or creating the calendars or doing something spreadsheet wise to like showcase some piece of information. And I always like to like clean up the mess. So filter spreadsheets to find things that were wrong with them, do all these different techniques. So that just was kind of always there. I didn't really put it together. It just was there. And then when banking became really not very fun anymore in,
Well, you stopped
2008,
giving away
2009,
toasters?
In 2009.
They stopped giving away toasters back then, right? Is that
they
what-
stopped doing anything. And
Right.
it was all about checking the box, which you would think actually I would love that, but it got very boring after a while.
Mhm.
And so in about 2010, I decided to leave my corporate banking job and see if I could figure something out. And at the time, I was really just all over the place. I wasn't really thinking organization, but I did know that I loved real estate and I loved interior design. And I think somewhere along the line, when I was shopping at a Home Goods, I stumbled across a book, which I'm looking to see if I can even get my hands on it. It was called Throw Out 50 Things. And I thought, oh, I'm going to buy this. It was one of those impulse purchases. And somewhere in there, it linked to the National Association of Productivity and Organizing Professionals. So then I was like, oh my God, this is a business. So between organizing, interior design, and real estate, I decided to go for the organizing piece of it and start my own business because barriers were very low. And you could really just start with like a business card, basically. And that's what I did. And I sort of was thinking, well, if it works out, great. If it doesn't, I can go back to banking. And 14 years later, I'm still here. It's worked out and it's gotten bigger and better. So I've just been able to
Awesome.
kind of combine all those things.
So there's an actual professional, you're certified in this. And you said when you went to the national, what again?
NAPO, you can call it NAPO.
NAPO.
Mhm.
And you have to take a test for that, right? Or multiple
So
tests?
you
or
do to be certified. You don't
be
have to be certified. But coming out of corporate and, having background in business and finance, I wanted to have some letters after my name.
Sure.
So you can get the certified professional organizer designation, and you have to work 1,500 hours one-on-one with clients,
Wow.
transferring skills. So teaching them how to be organized.
So like when you're taking this test, all I can do is like, they pull up a picture in a room and it's like, okay, 10 things need to be eliminated from this room. And you better get those 10 things right. Otherwise, what is it, a pass fail? Or is it like 80% is good? If you get 8 out of 10 right, you're good. And it's like, how does that work?
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Yeah, no. So the questions are more about trying to understand why the client is struggling with organization or how to handle certain situations.
Yeah.
It's not so much about the stuff. It's more about the interaction and how you communicate with them and what kind of principles you're sharing. Okay, when you're organizing, you need to, group like items so that you can then decision them more easily.
Mhm.
So it's very much, it's a multiple choice question. I don't remember, it's been a long time. I don't think there are any photos,
Right.
but it is, there is like a threshold for pass fail.
Right.
Mhm.
I think it's like 80% or something like that. And yeah, so I did that in 2015. So I spent about 4 years or so working one-on-one with clients, took the certification, and then realized that I kind of don't want to work one-on-one with clients anymore.
But 4 years is a long time to work one-on-one,
It
right?
is.
When you're wanting to launch your business, so you're kind of the mastermind. You don't. I guess I would think you don't really want to be down in the weeds so much. So you're trying to scale your business at that point, which I guess what I'm trying to say is there's nothing wrong with that, right?
No, but I definitely realized that I wanted to do bigger projects with the team and less interact. There's a lot that you have to do without the client. And that to me was more interesting than, working with someone that is neurodiverse or something that might just have some challenges that we have to work around and that it's repetitive. So it's paperwork and they can't seem to stay on top of their paperwork. So you see them multiple times a month and it's sort of the same thing every time. And it gets to be a little, or you're trying to organize something in someone's house physically while they're just sitting there watching you and you're mucking around with stuff. And that's also not great.
Yeah.
So, so that book combined with just some other things gave me the, very modest investment. And I just started and I joined NAPO and found my people and just discovered this whole world, and I just kind of kept going. And, volunteering is always a positive thing because you get to know people, you get the inner workings of everything. You learn a lot more than just being an attendee. You're participating more. So that's why I was focused on working on the board and being part of that group and trying to grow the industry.
Okay. That's an interesting way into that we've not talked to any of our entrepreneurs about. It's like, how do you network yourself into an industry? What's a way to do
Especially
that?
when you're the newbie.
Exactly.
And I'm sure there's people in there and they're like, oh, there's the new kid on the block.
Oh,
We have to be nice, but
yes. And I was the new kid, and then I became the veteran, and I was like, oh, now I understand why people were sort of tired of answering my questions at the very beginning, because it's the same questions that everybody has.
Right.
And it's tough when there are a lot of new people joining the industry. And of course, it's gotten very popular because of certain TV shows and certain personalities out there. And love that, because it's raising awareness and people are realizing that they don't have to, berate themselves for not being organized. They can get support.
Yeah.
So,
and you can diversify in your field, actually. I mean, it's not like, here we go, because there are people who specialize, and maybe you've done this, but I know some folks, their whole point of their organizational business,
organizing, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. But is like, they go in when it's time for old folks, seniors, getting ready to go into senior living and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, we need somebody to come in, or God forbid, they work with death in the States. Right. But let's just talk about that. I mean, when you're working with a senior community, and I'm sure that was really important when you were talking about those, interpersonal those skills and having to deal with situations, that's a huge one, because you're downsizing and somebody
a lifetime.
A lifetime into, here's your 800 square foot apartment you're living in now, from a 4,000 square foot house with an attic and a basement and 2 storage sheds in the back and 3 down the road that they've saved everything.
Yeah.
Do you do that?
We do.
You do.
Actually, I learned
the hardest client
early on. I realized that people get very stuck around big projects or things that they want to do, but they feel like there's too many obstacles to get there. So I want to make this room, a better playroom for my kids, but it's a junk room and they don't know where to start. So I have sort of specialized in helping in those situations where people are like, they need the momentum. They need somebody to come in and like be a team and like get shit done. And that's what we do. And I also found moving to be a very lengthy, stressful, difficult process for anyone. And we started out doing just any old family, just families. And in fact, my mother said to me, you really should focus on seniors because, they're a growing market. And I was like, yeah, okay. I don't really I don't think I have the patience for them. You may be right, but whatever. She's like, they have the money. You should go. And so I did not do that. That was dumb until recently. But I focused on just moving families, large homes, many kids, lots of activities, no time, mom or dad travel, they both were, whatever. So we did a lot of that. And then I did heed my mother's advice finally and realized that in all of the many years, I had done quite a few seniors. And I was like, oh, they're not so bad. So I joined yet another organization. Because there's an organization for that too. And it's
getting rid of shit from old folks.
Right. So it's called the National Association of Specialty and Senior Move Managers.
Oh, interesting.
And they changed the title, including the word specialty. And then I went, ding, ding, ding. That's me. I do the specialty moves. Maybe not so much the seniors, but let me go see what this is all about. And I went to this conference and discovered more of my people, but also discovered the fact that my mother was indeed 100% right. And it was a thriving industry.
Mhm.
And I have spent the last 3 or 4 years trying to focus and drive that. And of course, had to get another certification because I like certifications. Um, and nobody ever asks about them, but I just like knowing that I
But
have
you
it.
feel good. You feel good
I feel
about it.
good.
So I'm a certified senior move manager now. And we have been working with a lot of seniors and moving them, just as you explained, Darren, with 50 years of junk in a million different nooks and crannies of their home, and moving them into smaller apartments. And it's a very meaty project. There's a
Mhm.
lot
Yeah.
going on there, physically
Right.
with the stuff and mentally with their, emotions. And then just, they may not be physically capable to do anything.
Right.
So,
Yeah, how do you
Um,
convince Aunt Martha to throw away 40 out of 50 of her tea towels and at least 25 of her doilies? I mean-
so
I'm getting close to that.
yeah. So what you just assumed is that Aunt Martha, I think that's who you said,
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
that Aunt
Thank you,
Martha's
lady.
has all her tea towels and doilies in the same place.
Oh, I didn't say
And
that.
that is
Sorry.
not the case.
Yeah. They're
So
swirled away everywhere.
once we bring them all together and they can look at their collection of doilies, usually we can tell them, this one doesn't owe you any money. It's old, tired, ripped, whatever. And we can just kind of weed them out and give them some guidance.
Mhm.
And then we listen and understand, this one's used for this and this one's used for that. And I got to have this one in case of that. And we just go through that process.
And
But
this one is for the
usually,
3-stack candy bowl that my grandmother used to
Oh,
have.
I know.
And it
I
had the
did
3
too.
different kinds, and there were always those chalky peppermint.
Yes,
I
yes,
love
yes,
those,
yes.
the Pepto-Bismol
She
candies.
always had those.
And,
Yeah, I
and
did
there was always a little doily underneath that.
Mhm.
Mhm.
One of my favorite stuff.
Mhm.
So along those lines, you got me on a track now. I'm going to get us back. But my husband went up to visit his mom. She had a hip replacement. She's doing great. But I get this phone call, Lynn, we want to FaceTime you. I'm like, what? I'm working. No, my sister's going through all of her doilies from all the aunts and great grandmothers and all that stuff. And we're sorting them out. We're going to start giving them away. And I just told my husband, I'm like, tell your sister to pick out her favorite one for me. So God bless his mother. She's like doing that now, but it is a thing, it's like whoever spent hours putting this together,
Yeah.
crocheting it. It's hard to just walk away from it.
Mhm.
Right.
It is. Yeah, it is hard. And that was exactly the right thing to say, because if you had said, just send me whatever she thinks, you're going to get a boatload of doilies,
Yeah. Yeah.
like what? And then she probably spent some time thinking about what Lynn might like and why she might like it. And there was
Mhm.
probably a lot of hemming and hawing around that,
I
but
think there was.
hopefully
Yeah.
you got your doily and
I
you're
do.
pleased with the selection.
Yes, I'm pleased with the selection. And I said, I can't get on a FaceTime call. I got to get on a conference call.
Yeah.
Sorry, bye.
So
Yeah.
right now,
But,
when Andrea has clients that are all
Uh-huh.
and confused, she
Yeah.
just plays that song from Frozen.
What's that?
Let it go.
No, let it go. You have no idea how often that comes up,
I bet it
because we have clients that get very enamored with all manner of things, to-go
Yeah.
containers,
Oh yeah, the yogurt cups. That was-
anything
I can
that's
say this,
useful.
Yeah.
My sisters and my grandma, Nikolai, she had a thing about yogurt cups, and let me tell you how many cleaned out yogurt cups there were just squirreled away for
Oh, goodness.
someday.
I bet you
Yeah.
appreciate that Progressive commercial. Have you seen that one when they're all in front of the dumpster?
No.
You haven't seen that?
I don't know if I have.
Gosh, it's so good. You know the guy who he's the coach for these, the middle-aged folks,
Oh,
And
right.
teaching 'em, like,
Yeah,
how to
like
be
you're
modern day.
loud talking or whatever.
right?
Yeah.
Loud talking and
Mhm.
texting and all that. And he's teaching me, well, they're all standing in front of a dumpster, and there's one person, he goes, yogurt cups. She goes, I know. He goes, do you feel better now? Like,
Throw the yogurt cups
Okay.
in.
those are car mats. Do you still own the car? No.
No.
Okay, the mats.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you go through this all the time.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
uh-huh.
it's not, I'm sure for you, you can come in and you look at a situation, no matter what. Even you said you help people move.
Mhm.
And moving from one house to the other, I'm sure it's like, how long have you had this? You can see the yellow packing tape that is they've never opened this box since the time they moved before.
Right.
And
you
you're
go,
going through those boxes, right?
We have to, because
Yeah.
have to make sure.
Mhm.
Because you
you never know.
inventory
There
it
could be $1
all.
million in there.
That's true.
Right.
Wouldn't
So
that be awesome?
that's, I mean, okay, let's back up a little, because there's a lot, there's so many
It's so
things like this.
fascinating.
This is more than an hour. She's like, I don't know if
We're
we
gonna-
can't fill an hour, I'll go to my
I'm sure we'll
English,
be
I'll go to my
totally
British accent.
British accent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're full of shit.
No, but
We
how
are
do
going,
you-
what is that? What are you drinking
Oh,
today? But
that's
it looks
what-
like
Oh,
a
okay.
Riesling.
just Prosecco.
Oh,
Prosecco.
fantastic.
Good deal.
Yeah, there you go.
That's
There you
why I
go,
said-
girl.
She's like, I'm gonna go
I-
toasting the business.
Yeah,
I saw that you
classy.
guys got a refill, so I had to
Yeah.
get a
You
refill.
get a
We have
refill.
these delightful Manhattans today.
They're
They're
aren't they
so pretty.
I know.
They're
They're so
beautiful.
pretty.
Yeah.
So let's go back. You decide, like you said, low startup cost. This is right up here. Are you OCD at all?
No.
Okay. Because you actually, when you were looking up on there, you didn't know exactly where that book was on the bookshelf. And I would know.
But if you're an organizer,
Yeah,
you
but
know these
I would
things.
know exactly where it is. That's the,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
I'm a little more, that's what I'm saying. I mean,
Okay.
you don't have to be OCD to be a good organizer. You have to
No.
be
No, it's
detail-oriented and-
actually not good to be OCD
Yeah,
as
yeah.
an organizer.
Concentrate, right? Yeah.
Okay.
I just can't concentrate.
So early on, low startup cost for you, you are, what is your thought process at that time? It's like, I'm going to help people organize, but where's your point of entry for with a customer, and what type of customer did you go seeking then? And which was a good one? And you're like, that's a good one. And then there was another field and you're like, oh, I am not
Going down that
I'm not
road.
going
Yeah. Mhm.
Excellent question. I have to kind of dig back, but clearly I needed somebody that was available when I wanted to work, which was during the day.
Mhm.
So if at that time you had a job and worked in the city or outside of your home, you were not going to be an ideal client for me. So I had a lot of random stay-at-home moms that just, needed some help. And it wasn't really a thing to get help. So lots of friends and family were like, well, that's a luxury to have an organizer. And I'm like, is it though? Because there are a lot of people that really needed help. And so
Yeah.
they could be really like on the hoarding scale, which also was not my ideal, or they were, just looking for sort of a little bit of help, and it wasn't a very meaty project. So I just kept plugging along and networking and trying to reach out to people. And it took me a long time. I had a homemade website because I was like, I am not going to go crazy until I know this is what I want to do and what I want to specialize in.
Right.
So it took me a good, I just kind of worked one-on-one, got the certification. And then that was when I was like, okay, now we're doing, bigger projects, move management. Let's have the website focus on that. Let's just start really pushing that out. And could I have been faster, further along if I hadn't done it that way? I don't know, but
Right.
it worked for me. My kids were young. I was kind of working school hours and it worked. It worked. And I just kind of took my time and got there. And then sort of 2015, 16, 17 is when things really kind of took off.
Took off. Yeah.
But
So when you 2015, 16, 17, you mentioned things really took off. Have you sat down and said, how am I going to scale this business? I'm one person and maybe this house is a mansion and it hasn't been gone through in 35 years and I'm one person. How do I scale this business to not only service this one person, but potentially someone else in tandem?
Right.
What was that process
Yeah.
like? Because that's a big blocker for a lot of entrepreneurs.
Yeah,
is how to scale.
it is, because I wasn't thinking I was going to hire anyone. So what I did, I got a big job and I called a girlfriend that was also an organizer, and I'd met her in my industry and I said, hey, I'll pay you, come help me on this job. And then she paid me to help on her job. And we kind of did that back and forth.
Okay.
And then I started, having bigger jobs, and then, Google Calendar, where I'd put out a request and any organizer that I knew would fill in their name, and I would get 6 or 8 people and we'd go on a job. And they were all independent contractors. and we would just show up and do the job.
Mhm.
And it was usually like an unpack. People hate unpacking after a move. So
Yeah, me,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. literally the whole world should get unpacked by a professional organizer after a move.
Yeah, but then I have to
Can't say
reorganize.
that. I
Just
can't
put a
say that.
rail on.
I can't say that often enough because it's whole home organization from the get-go. Like,
Right.
why would you not? You
Yeah.
know, you could move in, screw around trying to figure it out yourself for years, and people
Yeah.
do. And then they say, oh, gee, we really need help. And I'm like, now I have to deal with all of the stuff
Yeah.
in the house coming out. Like, I could organize it coming out of a box
Mhm.
as
Mhm.
opposed to now I've got to take it all out. It takes twice as long.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
That's really, I've never thought about the other side of it. When you said
Yeah.
packing, yeah, I get it. Packing and moving.
Right.
That's, of course, that's obvious. But the unpacking and,
Yes.
I'll tell you, this
Yeah.
last move we did
Yeah.
from Minnesota to here,
Yeah.
I would have given my eye teeth to have somebody unpack us. We only took up a
There's Andrea.
third of a moving van,
right.
and
Third.
a third, and we came out of a 3,000 square foot house and only took up a third. So I know somebody that took up 2 moving vans when they moved cross country. It's bananas.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was what killed me, and I don't know if you find this to be true in your jobs, is the kitchen. The
Mhm.
kitchen and the dining room and the dishes and the glasses and the stuff and there's so
Porcelains.
many pieces, parts.
Mhm.
You know, it's not anything else that
Yeah.
drove me nuts. It was always the kitchen and the dining room, that
Right.
situation. Is that what you find to be true
Yeah.
in your instance too? Yeah.
Yes. People think that we can just like wave a magic wand and unpack and organize their kitchen. And I'm like, no, it can take a team of 4, 8 hours or more,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, to get that,
Mhm.
you know, done right. Because they're not the same where you came from. You know, I don't
Mhm.
care if you know, had it on the left and now you want it on the right. Well, we don't have that situation here. So we've got to do
Yeah.
something different.
Right.
So it's always starting from scratch, and nobody knows how to set up a kitchen. And 99% of the time they use everything every day. I'm like, really?
Are you sure you use that mixer?
Every day when you call carry
You know,
out,
I'm like, you're
Uber Eats.
zesting a lemon every day. You're, you know, like, I mean, obviously that's,
Yeah.
but they literally, you know, oh, I need that in arm's length. I need it right here because I use it every day.
Yeah.
I love you, clients. I'm not making fun of you.
I
For
know
anyone
you're
that's
not.
listening.
Just like
Um,
you actually only need 3 knives in the kitchen. That's
Well,
it.
in our
If you have
house,
more than 3 knives, you have
Too many.
too many.
I
Maybe
told my
4.
husband 8 beer steins. You don't need 8 beer steins. There's 2 of us here. There's 2 of us who need 8 beer steins.
Unless you want a clean glass after each
Yeah, I
load.
know, but I digress. But yeah, so the kitchen is the most difficult.
Kitchens are very hard, and closets, you know, they're closed
Mhm.
closets.
Oh,
So
Yeah.
typically, you know, if we're doing a whole home unpack, you know, we're doing everything. But if people are like, no, I just need my kitchen done and my closets, that's kind of the big ones that are really a struggle for people because they just
Sure.
don't know how to put away their clothes or where they should live and
Mhm.
whatever. So those are
Yeah.
the big ones. And then, you know, it just, you know, everything else needs to be done too.
Sure, yeah.
do you do closets when you're doing the hanging clothes? I mean, short sleeve, long sleeve, spring wear, fall, whatever. Do
Mhm.
you also organize it by colors too?
I
So,
do.
like the dark and
Yes.
everything else. Yeah, I mean, it's
Mhm.
kind of
It's
almost
it's
obvious
Yep.
right.
to do it
I mean,
that.
people don't appreciate the fact that there's a lot of like any uniformity that you can put into a space brings like less clutter. You know, if you have red, black, yellow, purple, it just gets all noise. And when you have it in a nice rainbow order, or if you have all the same hangers, or everything is folded the same way, all of that creates this whole like very calm situation. And you can actually, you know, get dressed more easily
Right.
and find things. And it's just less, you know, we're
Less
bombarded
stress.
every day with so much stuff,
Yeah.
you know, and just having like a calm space, it's all about how it's, you know, functioning for you
Sure.
and how it looks to
The
a degree.
Well, I go first.
Yes.
The psychology behind all of this. I mean, there's definitely some psychology behind the why of this is how you want to do your closet, and this is the feeling you'll get, and this is why your kitchen needs to be this way. And I just walked into that bonus room, and it's the kids' playroom, and it is a hot mess, and I get stressed out when I look at it. I'm going to turn around and walk out. Like, how do you work to tell your clients or to educate your clients about the psychology of organization instead of an absolute need? I got to get out of this house, or I got to clean up this room. Like, when you're done with them, do they understand the psychology of keeping things organized and neat? Your face.
Oh, she's
boy.
trying to answer
Yeah.
this very judiciously. She's like, oh, I know what I want to
Hang on,
say,
deep
but
breath.
let me see, what do I say?
So, our clients are sometimes what we would call do it for me clients.
Okay.
Like they don't want to learn sometimes.
Mhm, mhm.
And a lot of times we see, like when we go back repetitively, we label things, but if we don't label with professionally printed labels, we put Post-it notes on things.
Right.
And we can go back 6, 8, a year later, and there's the Post-it note still telling, that they leave up. But that's okay because
Yeah.
it works for them and they're leaving it that way. And it's just a reminder. But most of the time, we do follow up with like, here's some tips and tricks and how you can
Right.
maintain the organization. But the system isn't the system unless it's labeled. It sounds silly
Mhm.
because even my organizers sometimes say, well, it's very obvious. It's a clear bin. I'm like, but when that bin is empty of all the snacks, they're going to be like, what do we put in this bin? We
Yeah.
don't know. And they're going to just put, laundry detergent or,
Yeah.
whatever.
Bird feed or whatever.
Yeah. They're
crafting
just,
supplies.
so it's
Yeah.
like, the whole idea of like an organized labeled pantry and with, everything labeled. So when they run out, they know to refill it. And that
I
helps
see. Okay.
people kind of, not only find what they need, but also
Mhm.
put things back where they belong. And when you have a
Right.
family of, 2 or more is, because you got 2 people in a space. If only one person's following or knows what the system is, then, the
Yeah.
other person's going to be not doing it right, potentially.
Right.
So there's when you have a whole family using a kitchen or a pantry or a mud room or, people need to be reminded where they put things.
Right.
Where they
Right.
put things.
Okay. So it lessens the chaos in the house. Maybe the house functions a little more smoothly, maybe at times serenely. There aren't the fights of who ate the last peanut butter cracker or who took the last,
Right.
LaCroix.
Right.
sparkling
Because
water.
Less often.
Less often. Yeah.
less often, right?
Yeah.
It still happens, but the idea being you're able to see and you're not buying things going, do I need them? I can't tell because it's a pantry and it's just a big mess.
Yes. Yeah.
There's a lot of expired food all across America in everybody's pantries because they're not organized and things just get thrown in the back. So
Mhm.
creating the system and help, we talk about saving time, saving money, saving, frustration,
Mhm.
making dinner more easily, getting dressed faster in the morning, finding the scissors when you need to like cut wrapping paper.
Yeah.
It's all about what are the benefits of it.
Mhm.
So that people understand, but it's not as easy as, to maintain it for people. Sometimes they do
Sure.
need a refresh or a reset occasionally. And that's okay because, life is busy and people run into, they can't always put things back exactly where they came from. So
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
just a periodic reset. And once you get the system set up, it's easy to do that.
Right. Right. So here's a kind of a
Damn good question.
sarcastic question because
That was a good one.
but no, here's another one is I parked my car, walked by another car sitting next to me. I'm like, whoa,
Oh, no,
there is a
no.
lot of junk in that car. Have you ever been asked to organize a car or clean out a car or even a garage? I mean, I would imagine.
Tons of
Only my
garages.
limousine.
Oh, your limousine, shut up.
We do tons of garages and
Mhm.
I've sold cars for clients, but I've never had to clean one out.
Okay.
But
Uh,
there are people, their cars are probably a reflection of their home.
True that. Yes. Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
what you do every day, or, is,
Don't
I forget what
do.
the phrase is how you do one thing is how you do everything, kind of, whatever
Yeah.
that phrase is.
Mhm.
So yeah, you can see like cars like that in the parking lot. I totally know what you're talking about. I've seen them, and
Yeah.
I feel bad for them.
Yeah, I
because-
do. I almost look at it and go, "Ooh, their mind. What's going on in their head
Yeah.
that this car is like this? That it's just,
Yes.
it's like
Yeah.
piled up to the
Crazy. I
up
know
to
what
your
you're talking
head with
about.
junk."
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
oh my God,
There's-
Yeah.
this car.
I got enough room for me to drive.
Yes,
Don't
yes.
touch
Don't touch my
everything else.
filing system in my car.
My 50 used McDonald's bags over there.
Yeah.
Don't touch those. Have you ever organized a yacht?
Excuse me?
Have you ever organized a yacht?
I have not,
Okay.
but I would be happy
Alright, we
to
gotta go
organize
now.
your yacht, Darren.
And that
A
would be-
motorhome.
Yeah.
when I
I
get a yacht,
do.
I will let you unpack for me.
I love watching, reels and TikToks with
Yes.
people living in, vans or motorhomes or something.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
fun.
Yeah,
So cool.
and how everything has a place, and there's a place for everything, and
Yep,
nothing's wasted because they either can't get it in or they can't get it out.
Exactly.
Linda's
Um,
good about that.
Is she good about that?
She-
Keeping track of that stuff?
Keeps everything, well, I keep everything organized too.
Uh-huh.
And she keeps everything organized,
Yeah.
but she one-ups me because you can look in the pantry and all our containers, she uses that little label maker.
Yeah.
And so everything, we know the difference between light brown sugar, dark brown sugar, powdered sugar,
I need to
regular.
get one of those.
Look at she's
Yeah,
loving that.
Yeah, I need to get one of
And
those.
it's good.
Yeah. What other kinds of organizing jobs? We've talked a lot about residential.
Corporate?
Have you had to go into corporate and help them, organize their historical files, or VP's office, or anything along those lines?
Not really.
No.
I mean, I
Okay.
did, I did help our public library. I've helped a few small
Yeah.
businesses, but I've really focused on residential,
Okay.
because there's just an opportunity there. And
Yeah.
you mentioned earlier the clutter in their brain, and it really
Mhm.
is like your environment is a reflection of what's going on in your brain.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's, really hard for people to focus. I mean, we all know that with, social media and just
Mhm.
life. Um,
Mhm.
So yeah, we have plenty of work to do with clients that are in their homes,
Right.
and do a lot of moving. I've,
Mhm.
sometimes one of the things that over the years I keep laughing about is someone will say, "Have you ever sold fill in the blank?" And I'm like, "Yes, actually I have." Like hot tub. Have you sold a hot tub? Yes, I have, and I know how to move them. Cars. I've had clients ask me to buy them a refrigerator.
Huh.
Um,
Okay.
Yeah.
Like a second refrigerator, so they have
one
more
for their
room?
primary kitchen. This is a
Sweet.
longtime client that
Okay.
actually owns her own business, and we've worked with her for years. And somewhere along the line, she's like, "I don't have time. Can you buy me a refrigerator? Ours is
Oh.
broken." So I'm like, "Okay."
That's when you
Um,
need the other Andrea.
Oh, yes, the
Andrea.
charcuterie.
No.
No, wait. Oh,
No.
yeah, the concierge.
The concierge.
Yes, yes,
Well, we
yes.
should introduce you to her.
Yeah.
The high-end concierge.
High-end
for people.
concierge. Yeah.
Yes.
What I want to know before I get into all the other obscure questions that are going through my brain,
Mhm.
but a couple times you've mentioned that you've met your people. Like you went to this, you joined this organization, you met your people. And then when you got your senior certification, you met your people. What is this that you're talking about? What people are they? I'm assuming it's a group like like-minded individuals like you who
Yes.
do this. So explain that, please.
Sure. They're really just other business owners in the industry. So they know what I'm going through, and they know they understand the stories, they understand the challenges, they know how to do things that maybe I don't know how to do. So I have surrounded myself over the years. It took me a while. If I was to go back and say what I wish I knew sooner or what I wish I'd learned earlier. I was kind of I can do it on my own. I don't need help kind of person. I took a long time to find a coach. So I have a business coach. It took me a while to kind of create mastermind groups where I routinely meet with the same people and we deal with our challenges. I started wanting to really surround myself with people that had different businesses, not organizing. So I knew my NAPO and senior move managers, but I also wanted to know other businesses because I felt like, oh, there's probably a lot that I could learn from some of these other businesses. And they were also way further along than me. So I have sort of a cohort of business owners that I can reach out to that don't have anything to do with organizing. And they're incredibly brilliant people and they've just had every challenge. And maybe they've worked, 30 years in landscaping or, they could be another service company, tax preparation or whatever. And they just have great insights. So I just have, I'm always looking for people that kind of understand the plight of an entrepreneur because it's 24/7,
Yeah.
365 days a week. And I thought, oh, this will be great. I can make my own hours. Hardly.
Sure.
Right.
So-
Like Darren said, have you seen an entrepreneur sitting in the corner crying? That was me.
Just an hour ago.
Yes, I'm overwhelmed.
I got to do the podcast. Let me dry the tears off.
Yeah.
Let the kids
Yeah,
run around here and help you out.
it's a lot. It's a
Yeah.
lot. And I wouldn't change any of it. I love it. And, I have to qualify things all the time. If I'm venting to my husband, I'm like, it's not like I don't want to do this anymore. I still like it. But
Yes,
I just need to tell you how this sucks so bad right now, or
Yeah,
somebody's
I had to do
annoying me or something.
I was
and-
dealing with a Karen today.
Oh.
I had
I had a Karen for a long time and I couldn't
You couldn't fire her
couldn't fire
as
her.
a client. Couldn't
Yeah.
fire her. Those are
She
called
was
PETAs.
actually an employee.
Okay.
let's get there in a second. But what I want to know, let me follow up with this because you said your people, and you just mentioned a lot of great things.
Mhm.
I'm assuming network group, mastermind, a coach, a mentor, all those things. Did you come out of the gate with your business with those, or did you find them along the way? And did you see your business grow exponentially once you had all your people in place, or as they started to fall in place?
Yes.
Good answer.
No, I spent quite a few years sort of on my own. So I was in the organizations, but I wasn't leveraging them to the extent I should have, or that in hindsight, I feel like I could have. Because I was like, I know better. I've got this. I'm doing fine. It's all great. And it wasn't until I met one very influential person who kind of helped me. She was a business coach. She was local and she became she's still a good friend. And she has connected me to a lot of people. And that is, and also connected me to a lot of a particular author that I follow and has just kind of helped me grow. And I like the idea of reading all these books. The author is Mike Michalowicz. He is known for
Yeah.
a number of books.
I got them out there.
So
Beautiful.
Pumpkin Plan was the first book that I read.
That's
and I
a
met
really one.
Donna Lyons, and she's a business coach, and she's actually in a business with Mike now, working with strategists that promote the Pumpkin Plan. And she kind of brought me in and helped me and connected me. And then I was like, well, I read all these books and I want to make sure that I'm connected to people that understand the language in the same books that I'm reading, because I didn't want to have to be explaining everything.
Right.
So I expanded and did some things with those folks and kind of helped me find my cohort of people in other industries. And then, so having some of those people did, yes, take me from, kind of me just mucking around doing my own thing, which was fine, but it wasn't anything meaningful, to the point where I was like, okay, I've got the support. I know what I want to do. I know the industry I want to be in, specifically within organizing, and I can now create the website, create the content, get out there, promote myself, tell people what I want to do, and hire.
Right.
And that really was, it takes a while.
Mhm.
Mhm.
If I was younger and had started this earlier, maybe I would have been, more, I don't know, out there, but that's just my
But it
story.
seems like what you've done has been very purposeful,
Mhm.
very strategic, very planned. And I like the idea that you are talking to people that are not in your industry. That helps you get perspective
Mhm.
on other things. You're not in an echo chamber, just talking about the same things,
Right.
same stuff all the time. You're talking to other people outside your industry that can give you some perspective on, like when I own my business, Orange Cat Content Marketing, even talking to mortgage brokers and what they're going through. I'm like,
Yeah.
I never thought of it this way. So it does give you a different idea of how to do business for
Right.
your business in order to make it successful. So I think that's key as an entrepreneur, is don't talk to all your people all the time.
Right.
But just enough.
Just enough, yeah. But you need
No,
Yeah,
you need
sure.
you need outside perspective all the time. I mean,
all the time.
there's-
And
Yeah.
if they're further along, they can put it into perspective for you, because a lot of times these things are like ginormous. Oh my God, I can't sleep for weeks. And they're like,
Mhm.
girlfriend, relax. It's not that big a deal. This is what you do. And I'm like, so,
Really? I've been banging my head against the wall for 5
Yeah.
months.
I'm waking up every night. Why didn't you tell me this sooner?
I could have integrated those 2 programs and it automatically would
Just do this. Yeah.
I know.
Who'd have thought? So now as you said, you were talking about your Karen, who was an employee. At what point with your business where you, instead of putting out a Google Meets calendar and taking all these subcontractors, you're like, I need permanent people.
Right.
And who was the first person? What was the first person? What was the first position you created to fill?
So it's always been organizers. I have a lot of just organizers that actually do the work.
Mhm.
So I started with one woman who actually reached out to me because she saw my house was on a house tour, and she saw the organization, and she connected the dots with my company, and she was also very organized, and she was like, hey, do you need help? And I was like, as a matter of fact, I do.
Oh, wow.
So that actually happened, that was very unplanned, and I'm grateful for that, because I was like, sure, let's give it a go. And that was just the beginning. And I've continued to hire organizers over time. And I've had a very steady team at the moment. I have a core group that have been with me for a long time, and I greatly appreciate that. And it's all about fit and how the team interacts and working together, because they see each other every day. And if it doesn't jive, then it's going to be challenging. So it's all about finding the people that kind of just, think like I do to a degree, understand my core values as a business owner, and how we respond to a client that's very needy or very particular or very demanding or very annoying.
Right, because you're working with raw emotion, I think, in some cases with your clients, right? Because it's an
Yeah.
upheaval. It's an upheaval in their life if they're moving.
Well, you had to move your mom from Florida.
Oh, Lord.
So, and I know
That was rough.
when you were like
Yeah. I needed
a bottle of wine
I needed a puppy
a
downer,
day.
on that one, because that was rough. Yeah.
So think about that. I mean,
Mhm.
if you had, and here's Amy smiling.
Yeah,
She's
yeah,
like,
yeah, I
"Da,
just
da,
did.
da," and this is
Yeah.
what I deal with all the time.
Yeah.
But how
Yeah.
was that for you?
It was awful. It was probably one of the worst experiences of my entire life.
Right.
Yeah.
And honestly, it is usually for the adult children, because they're come on, mom, make a decision, do this, do this, do
Yeah.
this. This is the timeline. I can't believe you're driving, whatever. I've got no connection. I have no
Yes.
baggage. I've got nothing. I don't
Right.
know necessarily when we're hired that you're a crazy loon. I don't know these things until we start. And usually they're not. The kids will be like, oh, she's crazy. And I'm like, she's really not. This is hard and, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's always that, not every child should help their parent move, nor can they, because they've got their own lives. They've got, that's why you have to be speedy and fast, and you're just annoyed
Right.
with your parents. So
Yeah.
it's
tough. Well, in my case, my mom sent away the movers. Like I got a one-way ticket for Orlando, drove up to the Villages, walk in, I'm like, why is nothing packed? 7:00 at night. I sent the movers away. You did what? And so that was a rough ride, because it was just me. There was nobody else with me. And the family all thought she'd be taken care of, and the movers would have packed everything. And had we known, I would have called in reinforcements. Right. And so that was a really rough couple days to get that going. But we did it, and we learned, and here we are.
Yeah, no, I mean, you definitely need somebody to be your advocate for the movers, because the movers will, if it doesn't say to pack and, do all these extra things, they will not. And it needs to be very clear. And sometimes that's not set up very well.
Yeah.
So,
right.
Yeah. We have great movers that we work with that pretty much, I like to tell my clients, I'm like, they'll do anything I tell them to do, which, sometimes, people can be very particular, and they put it and it's like, a quarter of an inch off. And I'm like, can you move it, please? Like, we're going to do this for a while until we get it. And, they know that about our jobs, and they send the appropriate crew, because they know that whoever is there needs to have patience and understanding, and know that I'm going to be doing what we have to do to keep them happy.
Sure.
But it's not a good thing when, the movers show up and nothing's packed.
Yes.
They're like, oh shit, now what?
Yeah, it's horrifying. And in the movers' defense in this situation, they were great. They were wonderful. It was my mom that had just shut down. She's like, nah, I sent them away at 7 a.m. and I've been asleep all day. And just the screaming in my head was going off.
Right. Well, that's, it's tough for somebody to manage all that. And the movers come in and they're moving fast. And if that's not your mom's where she is, it's not going to, that's, I feel for you. I'm sorry.
Poo-poo, caca. Yeah. So, okay.
We got like a little bit of time.
We got a little bit of time. I need to know your kids. How many kids do you have?
I have 2.
2. Are they like, Mom, stop with the organizing my stuff?
I don't care how my socks go in the drawer.
Yeah, exactly. Like, leave me alone. This is my dorm at my college. I'm going to really mess it up. Yeah. Like, how's that going down?
You send somebody once a week. I've hired you an organizer.
So, I mean, they have lived this. I mean, my son was 8 when I started this business. Yeah. So I was kind of like that. I was like before, obviously. So actually, Ethan is pretty tidy in general for a boy, very organized overall. Made me very proud when he moved into his college dorm during COVID and we could not even go in. And he, FaceTimed us and showed us how he put everything away and, did everything, very neatly. So I was pleased with that. My daughter both of them have worked in the business. They've helped over the years. And my daughter is very organized and meticulous and loves home and hearth and loves organizing and is constantly rearranging her furniture or her clothing or whatever. So I did not have any challenges around that.
Okay.
So I can't really speak to, I mean, are they always tidy? No. But am I always tidy? No. People are always like, your house must be so organized. And I'm like, well, I run a business and I do have my, pockets of disorganization. So I kind of corral it and keep it out of the way. But there's definitely, areas where it's like, okay, don't go in there because I'm dealing with that stuff, whatever it is. And I will get to it, but it's not perfect.
Which is
And I don't have a
acceptable.
lot of product in my house. I don't use and need a lot of product, but other people do.
I mean, you have to have a dump station, right? You've got to, and a dump is you walk in the door and you dump your shit right there. Or I got the packages, I'm not ready to open them, and you dump them. I mean, there's got to be, and I'm sure you probably do. Is that acceptable? Do you like create dump stations for people in their homes when they want to be organized?
The technical term is a landing zone.
Okay.
Dump station sounds more
more
like latrine.
So we do talk about dump stations / landing zones.
Landing zones.
We kind
It's
of
landing
create,
zone.
we do try to create that. I feel like people need to create a shipping and receiving zone in their homes
Yes.
because there is just too much stuff coming in via delivery and it just really mucks up the works in any sort of mudroom. And, there's always like well, I'm not sure if I'm going to return this. So I'm going to save the box and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And I'm like, you need a space for that.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe I should get into construction and interior design and start recommending that. But I think it would be like a great, if in my next house, I want to have a space for all of that.
Right. And
It's
the
a
dog
whole
wash.
new room.
And the dog wash in the mudroom.
Yes.
Like
Dog
the
wash
dog
in the
wash, the shipping and receiving station, the places to put your wet boots, coats. That sounds
You need to walk through dog wash station.
Oh,
Just
you're right.
shovel through. You need a shove
Dog
stick.
through. Well, you know what we do with our boxes from Amazon? Because our cars are basically in our basement and that's where the garbage cans are. We just kick them down the stairs.
So good.
The empty boxes, just kick it down the stairs.
Your house
That's
is
your
always
system.
immaculate.
Oh,
Your house
thanks.
is like pristine.
Just don't pick anything up. There might be things.
I'm not
under
going to open up a door anywhere, but I'm not allowed. That's oh shit, there it all is.
Yeah.
Well, there is the everything out kind of disorganization and there's the behind closed doors disorganization.
Right.
So people can have a beautiful home and then you open a dresser drawer and you're like, oh, okay, this is where it is.
So how many times a year with a client does somebody say, how do you feel about feng shui?
Oh, yes.
Oh, most people don't. I have other organizers and other people that bring that up, but the clients don't tend to be
Really?
that tuned into it.
They just want you to put their shit where it belongs and that's it. So you're not like setting up rooms. You're working with stuff.
We are setting up rooms, and every time we're moving someone into a home, I very much have an opinion about where things should be. Where the bed should face when you're walking into the bedroom or how the sofa should be set up. And we do light staging of homes when they're getting ready for sale. So we rearrange poorly arranged rooms all the time. But I'm not a feng shui expert and I'm not a Marie Kondo expert. But, all of those things have helped the industry grow. So thank you to that.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. What?
You're next.
I'm next.
You're up at.
I had a
you're at the
question.
plate. Sorry.
It was something light staging, organization, and I can't remember right now what that question was
Time
going
to
to
throw
be.
that shit out.
Yeah.
So do you guys work with, I got one. Do you work with the 3 piles?
Yes.
Like this is, yes. Is
Well,
that
actually,
common? Is that a good
no.
way to like come in and put your client in the right mindset sometimes or no?
Actually, I take that back. We really don't. We have 2 piles.
Oh,
I talk about, because I need to keep it simple because there are too many variables. So I'm like, either you want to keep it or you do not want it.
Mhm.
You do not want it. do not think beyond that. I'm going to think beyond that. If you don't want something, I'm going to put it over here. And then we're going to figure out if that's something that should go in the trash, or could it be donated? Should we sell it? Should we give it to your Aunt Sally or whomever, whatever? If you do not want it, just tell me that, because I'm only going to work. I want to keep and worry about the stuff you want to keep.
Mhm.
And because everybody's always like, well, that goes. I'm like, goes where? Goes where? Is it going to the new house? Is it going in the trash? I'm like,
oh my gosh.
It goes
So I
out of
think-
sight, so I don't have to talk to you
so
about
I'm,
it.
I'm like, I have a little pea brain. I can only handle two things, I guess. And I'm just like, keep or do not want. Because if
Yeah, yeah.
like, don't, because then they get all caught up in, well, if I don't want it, what do I do with it? And I'm like, and then they'll start going down this path of like, well, I donate it, but how do I donate it? And where do I drop it off? And how do I, and I'm like, don't even go there. Just decide, keep,
Right. And
do
that's
not
what they're
want.
paying you
Right.
for, is to help you
Right.
help them make that decision,
Right.
and make it efficient so you can keep on
Right.
moving.
Right.
What I know what the question was, when
Got it.
you do a move of a senior out of state, like a 3,000, 4,000 square foot house, how long do you work with them from start to finish to get them fully moved into the other, wherever they're going? How long does that take? A week?
Oh,
2 days?
it varies.
Mhm.
And we don't talk in terms of weeks generally.
Uh-huh.
We talk in terms of hours, because it's not consecutive. And it's also, it depends on when they bring us in. So if
Sure.
they are like, I have a house full of stuff, I moved, I don't know when, I don't know where,
Mhm.
help me. And we kind of just start with the decluttering. If they call us in and say, I know exactly where I'm moving and I know when my closing date is, my house is sold, whatever, that's a different
Okay.
story. But
Mhm.
we have worked 50 to 100 hours on a client to get them doing whatever they need to do. It depends on the volume of stuff. Or we've
Mhm.
worked 700 hours,
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
years, multiple
Is that-
years.
is
depending
that-
on,
oh,
a client that,
I think I had a senior movement just now when she said that.
700.
I mean, it's because it was a big house,
Yeah.
multiple children, years and years of accumulation. Maybe they were not physically here for some period of time because they go to Florida for the winter. So
Sure.
it
Yeah.
drags out over time.
Mhm.
And so it really, like,
Oh,
I can't tell you a 6,000 square foot house, a 3,000 square foot house. It doesn't necessarily
Yeah.
matter square footage.
mhm.
It matters about the stuff, and it matters about how they decide,
Yeah.
how quickly they can tell me it's a keep or a do not want.
Did you think about that? The first thing would be the kids, because you're like,
Oh,
you got the stuff, you got the kids. The kids are probably like 35, 40 years old, just camping out. And it's like, okay, you're the first thing. Stay or go.
Get out.
You go.
I never thought of that.
Everybody,
Ouch.
they all, almost every house has kid stuff in it, even if they're like, married with grandchildren, living 3 states away.
Yeah.
It's everybody. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's just normal.
Yeah. Yeah. All
It's
right.
normal.
So where does your company operate?
We are
All
based.
over the world, or are you just specific to a specific region of the United States?
I
Oh,
would
she
love
loves
to be all over the world.
Okay.
We are headquartered in Chatham, New Jersey. So we
Mhm.
do all of northern New Jersey, parts of the rest of New Jersey, depending on the project, New York, Connecticut. We've been to Pennsylvania. I get calls from all over the country all the time. I
Okay.
got a lovely call from a woman today in like the Bay Area of California wanting help
Wow.
unpacking. And I'm just trying to figure out how to be able to serve all these people, because we track who calls us, and I don't do any advertising. It's all, I guess,
Word of mouth.
Word of
just
mouth.
Google.
Excellent.
Wow.
Excellent.
I don't know. I'll go to the Bay Area with you. I'll be your
I'm like, I can go
independent
anywhere. You
contractor.
just have to pay me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But we have, we've had the opportunity to go to Florida for your clients a few times. I did have a client once fly me to Tokyo to help them get unpacked and settled in their home. They were American, being transferred to Tokyo for a few years. And I just casually mentioned that I'd be happy to help them.
Yeah,
They
sure.
said, okay.
You might get hired to go back and organize some file boxes at Mar-a-Lago at one point in Florida. I don't know. Wait, oh no, you might not have any money after trying to post that bond today.
Well, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, so but we're there's opportunity everywhere, and if I can't help somebody, I can provide them with a resource. But yeah, we're mostly northern New Jersey, and it's a blast.
Good. That's
We have
awesome.
fun.
That's great.
We have fun.
That's great.
I have a great team.
Good. Good. And how do people get a hold of you?
They can email me at Andrea@smartlyorganized.com. They can go to my website and fill out my contact form on smartlyorganized.com/contact. They can call me. Do I
No.
give my number?
Yes, give your
If you
number.
want to.
917-846-9953.
One more time.
917-846-9953.
I think I hear a phone ringing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
no,
different than 8675309.
I know, yeah, right.
I know, right? Yeah, so it's fun, and we love it, and we always want more clients. We want to help more people because everybody needs help. They need just somebody to give them a little push, whatever it is they want to get done and accomplished, and we can do that.
Little
Excellent.
did you know at 8 years old
Yeah.
that this is really fortuitous, isn't it?
I think you're your best self at 8 years old. You pretty much have it figured out at 8, and then it's everything else in between that and 40. You got it.
Did you want to, like when you were 8, were you just writing content at that time?
No, I wanted to be an astronaut, and then somebody sat me down and said, "Your math skills are so bad that you."
Well, you and Megan had that conversation.
Yeah. So
I was 5 years old. I wanted to be a director. It'd be a movie. So
All
anyhow,
right. Well, you're directing podcasts.
yeah, exactly.
am I
Well, how
really
you spin it.
directing? You know how many times my shins are always bruised after a podcast because Lynn kicks me under the table so many times, especially, and she wears really nice shoes. I can't believe she.
Yeah. Today I got my Skechers step-ins on. They're those are really nice. Let me tell you.
Henry, I got to tell you what, this has been a blast. I was excited at first, like weeks ago when you said we're gonna have her on. This is what she does, and then my mind went blank. I was like, I have no idea if I can even come up with more than like 2 things to ask you. And I knew I had a bunch, but it was like my brain went.
Yeah.
And then we got going, and then it was
There you go.
over the top.
Yeah, it is over the top.
Holy cow! You were
It's
big
not
time.
something that people know a lot about. It's sort of one of these
Right.
things that's a best kept secret, and you should spread the word because you have a space in your home that needs organization. I'm sure that dumping ground can be better organized.
Landing zone.
What did you call it? Not dumping ground, dump
Dump.
spot. You call it a dump
Dump
spot.
Dump spot.
Dump
Like
spot.
a latrine business.
Yeah.
Dump spot.
Just put your shit there.
Yeah,
Area
exactly.
is what it's
Yeah,
called.
exactly.
I like landing zone.
Okay, I like that too.
We got the professional who told us.
We did.
She got a certification that says it is a landing zone.
Okay, it's a landing zone, but
It could be anything you want.
right. And this is self-care, right? And we're all about after this pandemic, it's all about self-care and self-awareness and taking care of yourself. And I think, hiring a service such as yours is a form of self-care in many cases. So
100%.
Hear me now, listen to me later, everybody.
Yeah.
Think about it. Organization, professional organization, it probably could help you out in many ways.
There we go.
And every single one of us are non-judgmental. We don't care. We see a mess and we're like, oh yeah, we see the possibilities. We're kind of like, sometimes we forget to take photos beforehand because we're kind of excited to get going. It
That's
sounds
so cool.
crazy, but I'm always like, we're just itching to get ready, get it better and make
Right.
it something that, eases stress and makes life easier.
Right.
Everything is better when it's organized.
There we go.
Fantastic. All right,
Oh,
Darren.
Andrea, thank you.
Thank
and
you.
Megan, thanks for the cocktails. And
Yes.
thank you, Perspective, for being our sponsor for this show.
Fantastic sponsor.
It'll all be in the show notes, how to get in touch with Andrea, how to get in touch with Perspective. And I think that's it.
I think so.
Lynn,
Good seeing you again.
have a
Darren.
fantastic week.
You too.
I
You
love
too,
this time with
Andrea.
you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Ah,
Oh
Awesome.
my gosh, we're almost at the end of March Madness. It's time. Sorry. But folks,
All right.
we thank you for tuning in and we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for staying on, Andrea. We're not recording anymore.
Wait,
so we can
wait,
just
wait. Let me get off
talk
audio.
casually now.
Wait.
Stop recording.